Kentucky State Senate last week passed a new bill that would regulate the use of AI deepfakes in campaign communications. Now, deepfakes are videos created to make a person appear to say or do something they never did. Many believe AI deepfakes pose a threat to our elections and democracy at both the federal and state level. And joining me now is Robert Wiseman, the president of Public Citizen. That's an advocacy group based in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time today. Now, your group testified in support of this bill in Kentucky. Talk about what makes deepfakes any more dangerous than other political ads, because we've seen them, lie, impersonate candidates. We've even seen candidates morph from one person to another. What makes this new technology so dangerous that we need to pass a law regulating it?
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be with you. Deception and distortion has to be as old in politics as politics itself. So it's true that's nothing new. But deepfakes are something that's qualitatively different than anything we've ever seen before. They give partisans the ability to show candidates or parties or others doing or saying things that in fact they didn't say or do in ways that are completely convincing, in which a regular person can't distinguish from reality. So they are a different kind of fraud on the voter, different kind of fraud against candidates, and they need a different kind of solution, which is a ban on the use of this technology unless voters are adequately informed that they're being subjected to a deepfake with a prominent disclosure warning.
And in all this debate, I've also read that even if someone can detect that this is not, the real person, that it is a deep fake, there's still some problems here. There is some like trust being undermined here. Is there still an issue, even if it's not very well done and you can realize it's not that person?
Yeah, well, there are a few nightmare scenarios here. One is that you get a late-breaking deepfake right before Election Day, and it tips an election based on a fraud on the voters. Another is that candidates, when confronted with authentic audio or authentic video, say, hey, no, that wasn't real, that's just a deepfake, even though it was in fact real. And if people are being subjected to enough deepfakes, that becomes a plausible claim. And then the last and maybe most worrisome thing is what you're speaking about, which is if we're just subjected to a torrent of deepfakes, which people by and large can't distinguish from reality, then you don't know what to believe. If you can't believe what you see or hear with your own eyes and ears, well, then our democracy is a really miserable place. The best you can do is just rely on people you already believe in, but even that's not very satisfactory. Democracy depends on some basic sense of social trust and some basic norms of truth and authenticity. Deepfakes threaten that, which is why we need the kind of legislation that's now moving forward in Kentucky.
Well, let me ask you, though, can deepfakes really be regulated? Is this a realistic proposition? What kind of penalty will keep this from happening?
The most important thing is to establish the legal and social norms that deepfakes aren't allowed. So once we have good laws in place, and Kentucky is on the verge of doing that, we may well have the occasional actor, maybe a foreign actor, maybe some other bad actor, use a deepfake. But if we don't have the laws in place, then they're actually legal. They may be unethical, but they're legal. And we should assume political operatives of all political stripes will use them all the time. So the most important thing is to get the standards in place to tell people who, by and large, will follow the law, hey, this is what the law is. You can't cross this line. And that's what the Kentucky legislation aims to do.
Now, I know that many other states are considering this, including Indiana, which is in our tri-state area as well. And you're also pushing this on a federal level. What is the next step in Kentucky? What does it need to become law?
Well, you need both houses and signed by the governor. It's pretty straightforward, and I think that's going to happen. And it is happening in states across the country, blue states, red states. It's moving forward. 5 states have passed legislation already and signed it into law. 2 more are on the verge of doing so. In 10 states across the country, at least 1 house has already passed legislation in addition to the 5 who've already got it in law. So the states are moving forward. And I have to say, in every single state, it's moving forward on a bipartisan basis. Whether it's Republicans in the lead or Democrats in the lead, in every single state it's moving, both parties are joining together on this. Unfortunately, the story's not as good at the federal level. There is bipartisan support in Congress for deepfake legislation, But the way Congress is working right now is even when the parties agree that something should move forward, that doesn't mean it's gonna. And right now it is really hard to move anything through Congress, and we're not on track to have laws in place in advance of the 2024 election.
All right, so folks need to contact their congressmen and their senators if they're interested in that. Robert Wiseman, the president of Public Citizen, thank you so much for this conversation, an important conversation. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.